Serie A kicking off on Paramount Plus. We highly recommend everybody to tune in this weekend for the opening weekends. There are 5 Americans we're going to watch. Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musah. We haven't said his name for a while at AC Milan. It looks like he's going to be staying. Ruben Amorim is the new coach at Milan. And apparently he wants to keep Musah there, despite some interest from some other clubs. Weston McKennie, Juventus. Can they do enough under Spalletti to really contend for the Scudetto this year? Inter Milan are the heavy favorites to win it. They're even money to win it in Italy this year. Juve is like 5.5 to 1 for everybody that likes to splash a little cash. Milan's also about 5.5, 6 to 1 to win the league, but going back-to-back, Inter are the heavy favorites. Okay, Napoli is another one. They're 5 to 1. I think I just said them, Juve, Milan. And then we have Busio's back with Venezia. What's cool about Gianluca Busio is that he's now captain of the team. And I think he deserves it. He's gone up and down with them a few times. This is his 3rd time getting promoted to Serie A. Can they stick around this time? They've been a yo-yo club going from A to B in consecutive seasons. And then you got Benjamin Cremaschi from Parma, just made his deal permanent from Inter Miami back in June. So we'll see how he continues to grow and thrive. He was injured at the back end of last season under Carlos Cuesta, who was did a pretty nice job with Parma last year, finishing 13th in his first season. Very young manager, coach with Mikel Arteta. I guess the question for you then, Big Tones, is kind of an overall, just so everybody that's kind of paying attention. Do you think Inter will to win it again? And then which American player are you keeping closest tabs on?
You said something about 5 to 1. I don't know what that all means for Milan. Just save your money. That's all it does. Save your money. Inter for sure, I think, are the favorites. They've made some big moves in the winter transfer window, and I think they're the best built team. They've been for a while. They've had the formula on how to conquer Serie A. Even when Milan won Serie A, even when Napoli won Serie A a couple of years ago now, I think the idea was that Inter was still the best team in the league, right? And with multiple competitions falling apart 2 seasons ago, kind of at the end in the last month, they're for sure, I think, still the favorite for everybody. With regards to the players, Jimmy, look, we're going to talk about Pulisic all year. Moose is an interesting story. Weston McKennie is another guy we're going to talk about all season. I'm really interested in the Busio thing. He's in the top 5 league now. I think he's 24 or 25 years old. 2 years ago they came up and then they got relegated immediately back down. I think people thought that he was going to find a home. There was rumors at all kinds of places, Sassuolo and different places, that he would be back in Serie A. He stays with the club. They get promoted again. So he's gone through 2 promotions and a relegation with that club. He's been a stalwart from basically the time that he was there. I think it's a really, really interesting story. And you think now when you're talking about the new cycle, I don't think you can discount, just throw out, Busio here, based on Pochettino and now coming back and thinking about rebuilding. Like, he was thrown out of this cycle early. And I don't think you can just throw him out of the midfield right now. So we're in a wait and see with him. Cremaschi, still a little bit younger, got a little bit of time last year, then got injured. We'll see what that looks like this year. Should get more time. I think the permanent move was already agreed on, like when he made the move from Inter Miami, right? So they knew that this permanent move was an obligation to buy. I think he could be a really talented player as well. But Busio's the one I'm going to watch this year.
All right, so let's bring it back a little bit, Chuck, because I feel like Serie A is probably the most compelling league in the top 5 leagues in Europe. They had 3 different champions in the last 5 seasons. You could argue Bundesliga's Bayern. You have PSG's Liga.
You really think that?
What's that? Bayern?
No, Serie A.
Is it compelling? Yeah, it doesn't mean the level's as high as the other leagues at times, right? That's kind of where the conversation is. But I do feel like that it does feel. I think Inter is a clear favorite this year.
Compelling in terms of just not knowing who.
Yeah, I mean, you have Inter who won the league last year, right? But
they're for me, they're the clear favorites.
Clear favorites this year.
They won the league last year by 11 points.
Right. Napoli finished second. But you got Roma. Roma finished third. That's their highest finish in 8 years. Yeah. got Roma, who finished under Gasperini. So Roma's going to be in the conversation, be hard to break down under Gasperini. Como and Cesc Fabregas, they finished fourth. It's going to be hard for that club, I think, in particular, to hold on to Fabregas after the season, and also to try to balance playing in Champions League and also trying to be competitive in Serie A. That's always a big challenge for the clubs that maybe don't have the same depth and budget. But I do think, here's the big question. No Italian team made it past the round of 16 of the Champions League last season. Napoli couldn't get it out of the group phase. Bodo Glimt, baby, my squad from Norway, took down Inter Milan over 2 legs. And so I guess Inter were in the Champions League final 2 seasons ago, so it's not like the drop-off has been significant. But I just kind of wonder, how Italian calcio, the football, comes back and how competitive they can be, not only in making their league compelling, but also in Europe.
No, I was interested in your take on compelling because, probably, the Premier League, if you're looking at the Premier League, that also could be pretty compelling given all of the managerial changes, the player transfers. There's no Pep Guardiola, there's no Jurgen Klopp. It just feels like this season, Arteta is really trying to put his firm grips on the trophy for a repeat, given that Manchester City and obviously it's just the Community Shield. It doesn't tell you too much, but Manchester City looks like they're going to go through some rough patches this season. But Serie A, I guess from that standpoint, it's going to be really interesting who finishes second, third, and fourth. I don't think Inter is going to be challenged this season. But could this be a redemption season for Ruben Amorim? I think that's, Tony, probably something that you're looking at. But when we're looking at Milan, the depth is not there in the squad. So when you're talking about Yunus Musah, I'm looking at the roster. I'm looking at the friendlies and how he's used players. Yunus Musah stands a really good chance to be part of the rotation. I think he's going to start over Rabiot, Luka Modric. I think Fofana's probably going to be sold. So after those two, I think he is the third best midfielder that they have, central midfielder. So given Modric's age, I think Yunus Musah will be given a handful of opportunities. And by the way, he only had 4 starts last year. So it looks like it'll be a better situation for him staying at Milan versus going on loan to Atalanta, which goes up there as probably one of the worst loan deals you could ever select.
Yeah, it's so what's interesting about Yunus is only 23 years old. So and it looks like that Amorim is
amazing, man.
Yeah. He's still got plenty of room to grow, and when
he's got to do something with that hair, though. I'll tell you that right now. He's got to he's got to do some braids. He's got to do something.
He missed out on the opportunity to play alongside and learn from Luka Modric last year, and I hope that he has that opportunity this year, and they don't loan him out, and he gets to stick around. Because even if he's not playing as much as he wants, being around someone of that stature who's accomplished so much and is so good at the game, I think it will only help him grow as a player. So we'll see. I'm very curious about Yunus Musah as well. With regard to Busio, he actually said this in a quote about being captain. Yes, I'm the new captain. It's an honor. I'm proud. I'll do everything I can to represent Venezia and this team. I never thought I'd have this role, but I'm ready to take it on. 24 years old.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, he started 37 to 38 league matches for Venezia and Serie B last year. 7 goals, 4 assists. Obviously, this is going to be a big jump up. 17 caps for the U.S. men's national team. Most recently playing in November of 2024. So we'll see if he gets an opportunity to get called in. And I hope that I feel like he's warranted some consideration. At least bring him in and see what he's about.
That's what I was saying. Like, he just warrants consideration. You're playing in a top 5 league. You're captaining a side. You're still 24 years old. It's a new cycle. You're looking at the center in the midfield with guys like Aid Morris and Sebastian Berhalter. And, of course, we know Tyler Adams and his story. Weston McKennie's played a little bit higher under Poach. I just think, like, it's a name that you have to consider. So if you're bringing in 36 guys to a camp, like, I think he has to be in consideration. I'm not saying that he's a starter with that group. I just don't know that we can just – he started, right, or he played in Pochettino's first game I'm seeing here, right, the Panama game back in October, and then that was it. Like, I don't think we can just say, you know what, he's not part of it right now. Let's see how he develops and what it looks like in the top league and what he does. He clearly has caught the eye of the manager to make him the captain. So I think it's pretty cool. I think it's a cool story.
So let's talk about the captaincy a little bit, because when you're in a game, let's use the Belgium game from the World Cup as an example, and the game's getting away from you. What do you need on the field? You need leaders. You need guys that know how to suffer a little bit and wrangle a game back under control. So if you're looking for those types of intangibles, and someone of that age is being trusted to be a captain going into a top 5 league in Europe, I think, yeah, you do need to look at him for a lot of different reasons. Obviously, he can play and demonstrated that, but I think those intangibles are going to be important as we're team building, especially at the beginning of a World Cup cycle, like you mentioned, Big Tones. I think that's a really good point. All right, let's talk Weston McKennie. Chuck, before we move on to Ligue 1 in France, he just scored in the last friendly here for Juve. They won 2-0. They made Kolo Muani a permanent signing, so they know they're going to have him up top. Vlahovic is now gone. I think he went to Turkey. Yildiz looked really sharp in preseason.
Ale Begovic, Karim Ale Begovic.
That's right. Bosnia. He's been excellent as well. And so what do you think for this Juve team under Luciano Spalletti? Obviously, he's a big fan of Weston, trusts him, puts him in good positions to have success, and lets him roam free, right? And doesn't give him a hard time about it, which I think is important for the way that Weston likes to play. What are you expecting from Juve and from Weston in particular this season?
So Weston started 32 games last year in Serie A, 5 goals, 6 assists. I expect him to have numbers around that with in terms of goal contributions, because Spalletti really loves him higher up the pitch. He was played as a false 9 at times. Now, I do think he'll be in the midfield and not playing striker, but he has the freedom to get forward. So I still see him scoring goals this year, and around, I'd say 5 to 8 goals, which is phenomenal. He had 6 assists. I still see him being involved in the final third. So he's going to be counted on. He's one of the players that Spalletti trusts, and he's always one of the first names on the team sheet, given his versatility and his commitment to the team. So even talking to Weston, like, this is home for him. He's not moving around Europe. This is home. If he leaves Juve, it's to come back to Major League Soccer. So, I love this for Weston. He's counted on. He's made it his second home. He knows everybody in and around the club. This is like one of those perfect matches, right? With an American player in Europe who has cut his teeth, has kind of gone through the ups and downs, and now has proved himself. So the fan base, the supporters, the team, and the administration all value what Weston McKennie brings to the team.
How far are we removed from them not taking away his parking spot and taking away
his first preseason? It's the first. Well, like, what's the motivation now for Weston?
Yeah. What's he gonna do? He's got like no chip on his shoulder. No, he's gonna be great because Spalletti trusts him for sure. I know I was gonna talk about a Ligue 1 preview. I think we might need to save that for the second break potentially, but I did want to dig into Christian Pulisic a little bit with our Milan resident expert, Tony Meola. Let's talk Christian Pulisic here, because he had 15 goals in his first season with Milan, 17 in his second, but only 10 last year in his third season with the club. Still hasn't scored for them in 2026, last scoring in December of 2025. I kind of just want to speak big picture about your expectations for Christian this year under Amorim, who plays very similar to what we've been talking about, or what we wanted with the national team, in like that 3-4-2-1, where you have wing back, kind of box and midfield. He'll be one of the dual 10s. He'll get to kind of float. Amorim has already said he wants him to kind of be on the left side, cutting in on the right and finding those pockets of space between the lines. Very similar to what we saw, I think, with Mauricio Pochettino as we started to shift into that. Obviously, the numbers are the numbers, and staying healthy or staying healthy. Those are kind of the obvious stuff, I guess, Big Tone. But kind of what do you want to see? 27 years old now. Any areas that you'd like to see him kind of really cement his, like, I'm the guy in this area and you can trust me? Or where are you at with Christian Pulisic this season, Big Tones?
I think you want to see what we saw in the first half of the season last year, right? In the fall, where he got all his goals, and where he was going into the winter break. We were talking about him potentially being the MVP of Serie A, and deservedly so. He was as good as anybody.
Yeah, he was excellent. He was excellent.
And I think under Ruben Amorim, in that sort of counterattacking and that role that he wants to play, that suits him really, really well. I like the fact that it sort of is the same position that he's going to be asked to play with the national team. We think, right? We think we found a way of playing under Pochettino that kind of suits the group, but who knows? It's a new cycle. Maybe he wants to work on other things. But ultimately, it's just be healthy. right? Like that's always been the wish with Christian Pulisic. When he's healthy, he's as good as anybody in that league at creating and at scoring goals. And it's just been, unfortunate injury after unfortunate injury, and that's the hope. I think he's got a home there, and it stinks that he's not playing Champions League football, but he is playing European football. The timeline, I just looked it up. It's somewhere in August. What are we, a little bit past halfway here in August? So he should be getting back on the field soon. So hopefully by October, Jimmy, he's like at 100%, right? Mm-hmm. And he's cruising, and we're seeing the Christian that we love watching play.
All right. You guys heard it here from Big Tones. All right, here are the first matches from Serie A. Serie A and CBS Sports are in this together, Paramount Plus. You can watch all the games this weekend on Paramount Plus. You got Inter, the defending champs, taking on Monza at home. I feel like Milan got a tough one away to Torino. That is a tough place to go away and get a result. Other big ones, Venezia hosting Como, I think, is going to be – we got Venezia twice on here, so apparently they're playing 2 games at the same time. That's pretty awesome. But, if you
it's Venezia Lecce. You could tell that Venezia is the logo next to Venezia. Como is not.
It looks like Udinese, maybe.
Udinese is that logo.
Udinese. Yeah, Como.
Hey, don't worry. We got it. We got it.
Don't sweat it, everybody. Just go to Paramount Plus to be able to pick the game of your choice. That's all that really matters here.
Look at the most open game here. Which one is
the most open game?
It's Atalanta Sassuolo. That's the most open game of the two teams that want to play. Yeah, that could be a fun one. Inter Monza. Inter clearly going to dominate. Napoli Genoa. Genoa, good side as well. Frosinone, a promoted team. Yeah, I would say Atalanta Sassuolo. If you're going to pick one game, if you just want to watch an open game, it'd probably be Atalanta Sassuolo. But of course, it's match day 1, so who knows?
Match day 1, you got to watch Milan for match day 1. You got to see how Ruben.
Yeah, I got to see what Amorim's doing. By the way, with this club, switching formations, and we'll see. We'll see if he can squeeze all the potential out of it and kind of redeem himself after not a great spell at Manchester United.